right. Not a big surprise, but Spearpoint is 2 detachment points. Um, so I was just kind of thinking, are White Scars real? And what I mean by real, of course, is do you take a White Scars list and it does something different enough and powerful enough that you don't just take Ultramarines and everything you do is better? Real quick recap on Spearpoint. It's got 2 big issues. Well, kind of 3. It just doesn't compare to Ultramarines very well. The biggest problem is it's a melee detachment that has no good melee units. Like, most of the good Space Marine melee units are either A, receiving Blood Angel buffs from Liberator Assault Group or Rage Cursed Onslaught, or it's detachment specific. So your Sword Brethren, your Sanguinary Guard, your Victorious Guard, and White Scars don't get access to those. So we just don't have a great melee unit that takes benefit from the detachment rules. And the other problem is Sabodin and Kasaro, particularly Kasaro, but Sabodin is not good enough to compensate for all of the opportunity cost you take by taking him. He's really good. Well, I don't know if he's really good. He's good. He just doesn't beat, the suite of all the Space Marine or Ultramarine characters or Blood Angel characters or any of the other detachment, non-Codex Suppliant chapters. So, going into this, that is the problems I have with Spearpoint. Now, it's a lot of fun. It is a very powerful detachment. Like, the detachment itself is cranked. It's just that it's not cranked enough to compensate for the current state of White Scars. So, let's do a quick little reminder of what Spearpoint does. So, it's advance in charge, fall back in charge, and then Sabodin specifically gets a move 6 inches after you kill something in melee. Now, hold on. Did they change it? Does it have to be destroyed? Yeah, you destroyed enemy units, and you're not within engagement range. So I thought it was not engagement range, and I was like, hold on, if that'd be so much better if you could just kill everything with the character. It's really good. What it's really good for is early turns. You can bully scouts and infiltrators and lictors and those kind of things that you don't really want to send Sabodin up against. But since you can hit them, move backwards, theoretically twice, it helps. It's good. It makes it so that they can't just put cheap units forward. You have to actually commit something to them. You can still do that. You can also sort of stop people from body blocking you by charging, killing them, and then moving forward. How many times have I done that? Almost. I mean, I can think of one versus GSC. But yeah, of course, Sabodin also gives move through walls, and he himself is pretty good beat stick. Not the most consistent one, but pretty good. Enhancements, Spearpoint Paragon is really good. The only time it's not good is 4-up invuls, but it's pretty good otherwise. And then Hunter's Eye is the other enhancement that you want to take. The other ones, they are fine. Putting bikes on onto the field on turn 1 is so meh. The only one I want to do it for is Sabodins, but you can't put it with Sabodins because you can't take an enhancement. And then reroll advanced rolls is fine. It's you put it on there if you have points left over, but that's about it. Strats, of course, we have Lance or lethal hits because we're a Space Marine chapter, or it's Lance and lethal hits if you are bikes, which you'd think would go good on Sabodin, but he already has Lance, and let's be honest here, you're not very excited about Outrider's melee output. It's okay, but it's not. I'm not taking them because I love them. I'm taking them because Sabodin wants them. Then, of course, we have fall back and shoot, or advance and shoot, because we are a Space Marine chapter. That's really nice, especially since we're kind of a shooting detachment anyway. And then the bread and butter is Hunter's Instinct, where you got your reactive move of 6 inches on mounted, but more importantly, your infantry models. And the reason why is you're going to have your infantry models move behind cover or get back into transports. And you're going to see in one detachment in particular, you're going to use that all the time. And technically, if you combine this with some detachments, you can move twice. Not the same unit, but you can move 2 different units, which is nice. And then, of course, Bikes or vehicles that are fly vehicles, so storm speeders most likely, maybe a storm raven. I wish. I really want one to work. I want it to be better. -1 to hit, -1 to win. Super good buff. It's just very limited on what you can put it on. And then, of course, you got a bikes or fly vehicle can go back into reserves. Good ability. Don't use it very often unless I'm already kind of winning. Like, there's been a couple times where I pick up a storm speeder on turn 5 when I'm going second into burn, and then I rapid ingress it, or not rapid ingress it, I bring it back down on their objective and burn their objective. Does it happen a lot? No, it's nice to have, but it's not like the most insane strat. So let's talk about the ones you want to take. So these are the 1 DP detachments we can take. I'm not going to go over the Phobos one. I just don't see why you would take that one over these ones. I don't know, especially not with White Scars. So this is the speeder detachment, and so basically, all of your speeders get the speeder keyword, and they can ingress on turn 1. Now, I think that's cute. I don't know if it's amazing. I think it's more about like making your opponent like deploy a specific way. That way you can threaten it a little bit. Notably, if I read this right, now there's a whole bunch of rules and a lot of it's complicated and a lot of new stuff. If I read it right, if you bring down the new land speeder and you shoot, he does not get to move his little like shoot and scoot. So on that assumption, I don't think it uses very often. If I'm wrong on that one, I could see it using more. Get a free shot on a couple things, pop backwards. Okay. First is Bellicose Weapon Spirits, which is speeder unit only, reroll damage rolls and attack rolls. And okay. You can put this on all the speeders, obviously. The only one that really I think you're going to put this on is Storm Speeder Thunder Strikes, because you're going to get the damage rerolls on their big guns, and I guess you're going to get the attack rerolls on like the, what are they? It's not a missile, it's the Icarus, the rocket pod. You don't care about that. It's about the damage. I guess you could put it on the Hammer Strike for the damage because of the melted guns. I think it's going on the Thunder Strikes. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to put it on a land speeder for re-rolling the flamer shots on one gun. Now, if it's more than one gun, you think about it, but it's just one gun, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Okay, Raptorial Cogitator Core. Say that 5 times fast. You get ignore cover. Now, it's good. Do you put it, if you're taking this, you're probably taking a bunch of speeders. Do you take the Hammer Strike, so he ignores cover? You shoot something, now everything in your army ignores that cover. I would lean to if you have points. I think you want a Hammer Strike anyway. Like, just thinking about this, you probably want a couple Thunder Strikes, a Hammer Strike, and then if the land speeder is cheap, you pile those in. If it's like medium priced compared to the storm speeders, you put 1 or 2 in. So you might have one anyway, so if it's got points, you got points. Okay, strats. Now this one is a weird one because select an enemy unit within 24 of your unit. That enemy unit has +6 detention range until your unit has shot. I don't know. So they go from lone op 15 to lone op 21. Sure. I don't know. I don't think it's that exciting. I don't think detection range is like a big deal. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's all over the place. I just feel like it's not going to matter as often as we thought it would when they announced it. Okay, let's do it. Why are you taking this? The real reason is for reactive evasion. You give your speeders a reactive move of D3 plus 3, which of course is so much better than D6. It is 4 or 6. Well, or 5. 4 to 6. So you can get safer, you can get behind cover. Reactive moves are always great. You can get onto objectives. There's they do about 1,000 different things that you want them to do, And the better you are at the game, the better it gets, which is it's fun. And then you can put one into strategic reserves, which is a little bit of overlay with the other one, but I guess that you could spend 2 CP and put both into strategic reserves. Sure. Probably won't. You could. But I think you're taking it for the reactive move, and you're taking it for the reroll the damage on Thunder Strikes. Thunder Strikes hit quite hard with Oath of the Moment, and they are not as cover prone because they already hit on 2s, and they have pretty long range. So I really like the Thunder Strike. I think it's just a little bit too expensive, or it's a little bit too... the detachments that want it aren't quite, they're not Gladius. Let's just be real. So yeah, that's what I think. I think Fulgurus, I don't know. Anyway, okay. I think Fulgurus is good. I think it's fluffy. I think it's the fluffy White Scars detachment to add on to. I think the thing that White Scars would need for me to be super excited for Storm Speeders is for them to be transports again. So like if you remember the Scout Speeder, and the way you'd buy time is you'd have a couple Scout Speeders with scouts in them, put them on center objectives just to wait out until you have shot your weapons and you got your bonuses going. You got your game plan in motion. That would be super exciting. As it currently stands, I like speeders. They are just they kind of gave the Storm Speeders like too much stats. Like they have a lot of toughness, a lot of wounds, and they're quite fast. But then they're just like kind of expensive because of it. So they're not glass cannons. But making a reactive move combined with -1 to hit, -1 to wound, pretty good. So I'll be honest, if I were playing orcs, I probably would try this one out first. I do think the other option is a little bit better, but it's not as cool. So yeah, I think it's fine. I don't know if it's better than Gladius. I would lean no, just because of all the characters. Maybe the detachments itself is better, but it's just the characters, and we don't have Victor's Card. So let's look at the other one, though. So this is Spearpoint and Librarius. Now, Spearpoint has a little bit of overlay with Librarius because the Stern Guard Librarian with the Fusillade combo kind of overlaps with the Hellblaster Lieutenant with Hunter's Eye. However, I think if you're doing this, you're not taking one instead of the other, you're taking both. And you can mix and match a little bit, but basically the difference between Hellblasters and Stern Guard is the Hellblasters love Oath, the Stern Guard need Oath, right? They do not work without Oath. So, what does it do for you? Basically, you take 1, maybe 2 Librarians, and if you put them with Stern Guard and you give them the Fusillade, so that you pick Pyromancy Discipline, so you possibly have +1 AP. That does not matter. That's not why you're picking it. You are picking it because then you get Anti-Monster Vehicle 5+ and Sustained 1. Sorry, you always have Anti-Monster Vehicle 5+ with the Fusillade, but you get Sustained 1. Sustained 1 is really good because you're going to have Oath already. So this unit, you might have +1 AP. That probably doesn't matter. Anti-Monster Vehicle 5+ with Devs, sus1, 4+ Invul. So the unit's actually kind of tough. Yeah. If you compare it to Hellblasters with Lieutenant with Hunter's Eye, you have sus1, ignores cover, lethal hits, fall back and shoot built in. Now, of course, we can fall back and shoot with a Stern Guard. It just needs to be a strat. So, I did some math. Well, hold on, before I get into the math. The thing about these is the expensive part is you're going to need 11-man transports. So that's because what you want to do is you come out, you shoot things, they come move close to you, you pop back in the transport. Now, is that a dream? A little bit, because if they're shooting armies, they're just going to shoot you. There's not going to be, oh, maybe I'll go. No, they're going to shoot you. But the option to get back in transports is great. Which problem is that it limits you to Land Raiders, and it limits you to the Storm Raven, and it limits you to the regular Repulsor, which I am not a huge fan of. But all right, so let's do here. I did some math. All right, let's talk about the math. Libby with Stern Guard versus like your Land Raiders does about 22 damage, which is 6 wounds over, which you need to kill one. So that's a pretty good safety net that you can plan on blowing one up. It does 22 wounds to an Armature. Exact same thing. That's enough that you kill an Armature and you kill most of a big tank or a big knight. Catan is actually the interesting one, so you do about 13 damage to a Catan. That is a lot. Especially when you compare it to the Lieutenant with Hellblasters, that's their biggest weakness is their damage 2. But 13 wounds is enough that where you can kill that Catan. Now you just need to, chip at it, Okay, it's not quite grenades level because it's a Catan, but you could, pretty close. You could probably charge it with some things, like Sabodin should do 3 wounds to a Catan. Probably. I don't know. I'd be nervous, to be honest. But he should. The other... just a quick side note. The Libby with Stern Guard, they need Oath, okay? You understand. They need Oath. There's no, maybe I can Oath something else. No. They have Oath. They are the most Oath-greedy unit in the game. Lieutenant with Heliblasters love Oath. Don't need it. Which is why I did the math with and without. So that if we compare it to Lieutenant with Hellblasters, Land Raider does 18 wounds, which means they got to save 2 higher than average to live. So it's not as comfortably dead. They absolutely wreck Armatures. They just destroy Armatures. Now, 24 damage to a Big Knight. As long as it's not a Lancer, that's 24 damage, which is most of a Big Knight. Catan, you do not want to shoot these at Catan. 5 damage is basically, okay, you can do it. There's just so many better options if you need to kill Catan. Now, as I said earlier, my local meta, a lot of the Necron players disappeared. Like, I went to that 120 plus person event, and there were 2. So take that that's just what I'm dealing with. Victor's Guard, they kill 7 of them, so they kill them and then not quite a character. Usually the character on 1 wound. If it's Calgar, it's like, 2? Does he have 6 wounds or 7 wounds? He has a lot of wounds. Maybe 8. But regardless, it kills the unit out of the character. And no Oath, they do about 10 damage to a Land Raider. They do about 16 to an Armature, which means they still probably kill the Armature. Do 3 to the Catan. I don't know, maybe it's 2. It doesn't. It's fine. You're not shooting there. And then Victor's Guard, it kills 5 and then leaves 1 on 2 wounds. And that's, of course, on average. So, frankly, yeah. If you don't want the speeders, the Libby one is good. The problem is, I don't think you're doing that twice. You're not taking 2 librarians. Maybe? I can't imagine. Maybe a Phobos one just running around. But I would take this unit and the Hellblasters. And then you Oath 1 squad. If it's still alive, you can Hellblaster it. If it's not, you can, go wherever else. And I think that's actually a decent list. The problem is your transport's going to fill up fast because you probably want 1 Redeemer. And with 1 Redeemer, which I do have a slight nervousness with Redeemers, and that slight nervousness is cover is not amazing for them anymore. Now it's good, but it's not like they don't just always or ignore 1 AP, So maybe that's my nervousness, but I think I'd take a Redeemer before I took a Repulsor for sure, and definitely before I take a Land Raider, not a Land Raider, a Storm Raven. But yeah, I think the problem is with the new detachment, with this in particular, is that it really depends on Oath of the Moment, and frankly, Space Marines don't really have a problem removing units with Oath of the Moment. We're you sort of the problem is you shoot the first unit with Oath of the Moment and it's dead, and then your hitting power goes down dramatically when you got to shoot the next thing. Now, ironically, the speeder detachment does help with that because you do get +1 to wound from Storm Speeder Thunder Strikes if it's a monster or vehicle, which +1 to wound is helpful everywhere, but it's particularly helpful on those. If you can go from 5s to 4s or 4s to 3s, that's really nice. Or 3s to 2s, obviously. You know, every point down is better. So the speeder one's a little less oath dependent. The problem is I just don't see how taking speeders in larger quantities solves a problem that White Scars have. But Libyan Sturgard does a lot of damage, but I just don't know if it compensates for, like, because we're already killing our oath target anyway. If you're doing double repulse executioner, it's going to kill basically anything in the game shooting at one target. The problem is we don't have the melee follow-up without Oath of the Moment, and your Oath of the Moment's always going to be on targeted for your shooting unit. So it's just kind of that weird dichotomy White Scars has right now. Do I think it's a list? I would say I think so. I think it is a list. I think it's I don't think it's as good as, like, Spear of Ultramar. I don't think it's as good as Liberator Assault Group. I don't think it's as good as Gladius with, you know, what Dark Angels or Black Templars are doing. I think it's close. I think it's close enough that, like, if you are like me and you're kind of a hipster and you just want to play White Scars, I think you could have decent success with it if you are, frankly, just a little bit better than your opponent, which is not the worst place, but not always the best place you want to be. I think it's a lot of fun. I think the units are cool. I think the reactive moves have a lot of skill expression. I think the problem is it just needs, like, one little thing. Like, I don't know what it is. Preferably, like, White Scar bikes that are actually good in melee. Like, good in melee. Not just like, okay. If we had that, I think we take off. Until we get something that's sort of similar, I think we're kind of in a little bit of, like, well, you're taking it because you like White Scars kind of territory, which is not the worst place to be, I suppose. But yeah, really looking forward to tomorrow because we should be getting Xenos, which means we're getting Orcs, and I'm probably playing Orcs for the foreseeable future. I'm just really hoping if Warhorde is 2. If Warhorde is 2 detachment points, there's so many combos. If it's 3, and then, like, okay, you can start figuring things out. I don't know. It depends on the 2s and the 1s. You know what I mean? 3, I can see taken. I want to combine them. It's the fun part of the new edition. I want to combine detachments. I don't want to run a 3. It's like, especially when I've been running it the whole edition, basically. So yeah, I'm probably going to plan on doing about the same thing tomorrow with the Orc release. And I hope I catch you then. Bye.